What's going on, you guys? It is Corbin Stuckey of PixelTalk here.
And Stephen Van Ostenbridge of PixelTalk here.
And today we're going to be continuing our Halloween series with Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This movie takes place a year after the events of Halloween 4, where it established the Jamie character and how she's the niece of Michael Myers. And this film has a lot of flashbacks to the ending of that film, which I really want to talk about because I feel as though this film could have had a lot of potential, but it ignored the ending of the fourth. It didn't necessarily ignore it. It acknowledged it, but the
most important part of the ending of Halloween 4, which is Jamie basically murdering her stepmom, I believe is who it was.
She didn't murder her.
Or attacking her with scissors. And that's basically not really touched on, at all.
So basically the fourth film leaves you to believe that she has murdered her foster mother. Whereas in this film, it just states that, she just had a panic attack, her foster mother is fine, she's just at a child institution. So what I really wanted from a Halloween 5 film after seeing that ending, I would assume anybody from the 80s who saw Halloween 4, I would assume that people wanted to see a fifth film where she is established as the new killer, and maybe it goes into that where, they're running tests on her and stuff like that, and she escapes from this child institution. And that's what you would think after seeing an ending to the fourth film like that. And that kind of goes beyond not even beyond, it just doesn't meet our expectations. It's just she's fine, she's just at an institution, Michael Myers is back.
Yes, and it begins right pretty much after the opening sequence of the movie is basically the end of Halloween 4, with the car chase scene and Michael getting shot by police and falling into a mine shaft. And the beginning of this one, he survives being shot, falling down a mine shaft, being blown up by dynamite, and he just kind of crawls out of the cave, floats down a river, is found by some hermit. Yeah. And basically is comatose for a year until Halloween Eve, because why not? And just murders the hermit and goes on doing his thing.
That's the one thing that I was just what? So
he's basically asleep for an entire year.
So Jamie is like a clairvoyant in this film, where she is able to see what Michael Myers is seeing. And she sees that a year has passed after this guy has found Michael Myers and has given him shelter. And I guess Michael Myers was asleep or was just in a coma for a year. And this guy had him for that amount of time. Or maybe it was just a flashback that Jamie had. But the way that it is edited makes you to believe that a year has passed. Jamie is seeing Michael Myers get up and killing his caretaker. And it's just
who, what, by the way, must be someone who's never watched the news in his life.
Yeah, it's what were you doing with Michael Myers' body for a year?
Yeah, you see a weird masked guy kind of, stroll into your house. First of all, the guy tries to kill him before he nurses him back to health. And one, didn't think to tell anybody, and two, actually took care of this dude.
So the film starts off after this little intro that Jamie is in this institute for children, and she's basically a mute because of the events that happened in Halloween 4. Obviously, she had the attack on her foster mother, and she is just really mentally not there right now. She's not able to communicate with people. Loomis is there to watch over her, and I guess watch over the other children. He doesn't really have anything else to do. That is kind of his job, because that's how he came across Michael Myers, and I guess he just really wants to be close to Jamie in case another incident occurs.
And he is a psychiatrist, so he kind of can understand and be a little bit more help to what's going on psychologically inside of Jamie's head. But he kind of comes across as a bit of a dick to all the children.
Yes. Especially Jamie.
Jamie. He yells at her. He basically, sort of threatens her. Where is Michael? You need to tell us right now.
Yeah. And I understand the urgency, but, you're also dealing with a child.
This is a child, a very traumatized child who has been suffering from panic attacks, is catatonic. And you can't really force her to speak. She's basically, like you said, she's mute. Yeah. And you can't violently force, words out of somebody who's gone through some sort of psychological trauma like that.
And something I also wanted to talk about is they kill off Rachel in this film in the first like 20 minutes, which I was very surprised about. I saw this film right after Halloween 4 when I was a kid, and I was surprised at the time too, because Rachel was honestly like a really good like Halloween character.
She was a likable protagonist, and she was kind of a badass, especially in the end of Halloween 4 where she runs him over with the truck. And I really was thinking that they were kind of grooming her to kind of be the next Laurie, in a way.
And then they kill her off.
Then they go kill her off. Like,
this film, the main problems that I have with this film is that it is... I just felt like it could have been better. There are times where you and I just kind of checked out, where we're on our phones, and I just really wasn't as invested in this film as I was in Halloween 4.
It feels very, like... familiar. It just seems like it's the same thing over again. They tried to be new and fresh with it,
but they tried to be like the first one.
Yes, it just seemed like the stakes were a lot lower, and it wasn't an emotionally engaging film, in my opinion.
If they were to just focus on the Loomis and Jamie storyline, I feel like this film could have been saved. But what it tries to do is, like I said, it tries to be like the first one, where it really focuses on like these teenagers, like Tina, which is Rachel's friend. They're
Mikey, her boyfriend, and then a couple of other people. And it's kind of similar to Halloween 2, and where all of these side plots with all these teenagers are kind of shoehorned in, just for the sake of probably runtime. And it just really doesn't add a whole lot to it, other than you see Michael go to this party trying to find Tina for some reason, and he goes around killing all of these people at the party.
It's just like, I thought your main motivation for Halloween 4 was finding your niece, and now you're just focusing on finding these random teenagers.
And Tina's basically a random person. Yeah. Like, I mean, from my understanding, I don't know if there's more to it than that.
No, she's just like her friend, like Rachel's friend. Unless, like, I mean, you could say maybe that like Michael is trying to get Jamie out because maybe he's aware that like she's clairvoyant and is using Tina as bait, but that's really stretching it a little bit. So I don't know. That's the portion where I'm just like, I don't care about this. I don't care about the teen storylines. I mean, yes, there are more kills, but that isn't really why I'm invested in the Halloween series. I'm more invested with these characters. Obviously, Dr. Loomis is one of the reasons why I come back. And this new added character, Jamie, I'm very interested in, where she is progressing and what she's going to turn into, especially after the ending of Halloween 4. And I'm just not invested in the other side of the story.
Yeah, it just feels very run-of-the-mill. It seems very average. It wasn't a very good performer at the box office for the Halloween franchise. And one thing I do kind of want to talk about is the man with the steel-toed boots.
Yes. So, like you were saying, like before we started recording this, you said that this film seemed kind of filler.
Yeah.
So, another thing I wanted to talk about too is this was made in 1989. So this was a year after, again, another Halloween film that comes out a year after another Halloween film.
Rushed, basically.
Rushed. And this film honestly feels like filler. It's establishing stuff that they want to explore in other films. Like we see this guy with these cowboy boots and who has a tattoo, basically the same tattoo as Michael Myers in this film on his wrist, and that's, I guess, implying that there is some kind of organization or cult that is behind why Michael Myers is the way that he is, but it doesn't really go into that yet. It's like giving you these little Easter eggs and crumbs to make you go back to the next sequel. Which I didn't necessarily really agree with. I feel as though if they wanted to do that, they should have just done that.
They give him a little bit more clout at the end where he basically shoots up the police station and frees Michael Myers. But prior to that, you really don't have any idea who this person is. You see him get off a bus and kick a dog, and then you just kind of see him walking around. You see boots. You don't ever see a face.
Yeah.
And it's just... really, his motivations are unclear, who he is unclear, and as a character, he just really isn't somebody you either... What makes a movie villain good is that, he's a person that you love to hate. Like, he's a likable villain and, is engaging, and, you're either afraid of him or, you at least understand his motivations.
But it's just... And this is not even really a villain. This is an Easter egg.
Exactly.
Like, it's not really... even apparent at all.
He's just a person who happens to be there until the last 30 seconds or so of the film.
Here's a really good comparison. So, like, Halloween 4 had, like, I didn't even talk about this in my review to Halloween 4. In our review of Halloween 4. I'm so sorry. We didn't even talk about this. So, the intro to Halloween 4 is actually really well filmed, where it's, like, filming, like, a farm and a field and stuff, and it's very eerie, right? Whereas this intro is, like, knives slashing against the screen, so it's very obvious that those two films are just really contrast to each other. They actually tried with Halloween 4, but with this, they just approached it like, okay, let's just make another slasher.
Yeah. And the film really suffers in that respect, because basically the only thing that it's relatively obvious they're trying to do is just piggyback off the Halloween name.
Yeah.
And just make another run-of-the-mill, relatively average slasher film.
So, another thing that I wanted to mention, too, is that this was made in 1989, and you can see that there's a lot of pre-90s tropes in this film. The two cops that are introduced into this film, where they come up to Rachel, and there's comedic music playing.
All clear. Nothing above, nothing below.
I honestly thought about the bullies from Power Rangers. You know, the song that goes...
Oh no, look who's here. Ball and Skull.
Hi, girls. How about that double date we talked about?
Yeah.
This was obviously just like a cash grab. Now, granted, there are portions of this where I really do like the ending. I actually do like the ending, besides the jailbreak scene. I like the portions with Dr. Loomis, and they go back to the house, and, you know, Loomis is using Jamie as bait, basically, to lure Michael into this trap.
They're basically trying to recreate the events of him murdering his sister in the first film, where they have her, you know, upstairs brushing her hair, and he comes up the stairs and kills her. But they're trying to recreate that in an attempt to draw Michael there so that they can hopefully kill him.
Yeah. Now, the problem that I do have with this is that the police have a plan, right? One of them has a shotgun, so he's going to be able to easily take down Michael Myers. But Loomis is like, oh no, I want to take authority of the situation. I have a gun, cop. Stay back. And his plan, compared to a cop with a shotgun, is to put a metal net over Michael Myers and shoot him with darts.
And basically hit him in the head with, like...
a board.
Yeah.
So, what plan is going to work, do you think? And surprisingly, Loomis's plan works.
Yeah, turns out bashing Michael Myers in the head with a piece of wood.
I guess. Like,
he's a vampire. His one weakness is wooden boards.
Die! Like
6 times!
I shot him 6 times! That's just, I wish that was more of a meme, because no one talks about that at all.
Oh, if memes were a thing in the 80s, they probably
I shot him 6 times! Honestly, like I said, there's a half of this film I don't really care for, but the other half is somewhat interesting, because
it's at the very least entertaining.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
since you've been behind Dr. Loomis this entire time, like, at least you have that established story that keeps you going. But at the same time, you know, the movie falls because it is obviously, you know, a year after Halloween 4, which I thought was pretty well made.
Yeah. And
this is obviously more of a cash grab. I don't know. Like, closing thoughts. I think that's all I really have to say.
I mean, it's not a super engaging film. It's not a super memorable film, and in my opinion, it doesn't really bring much to the table in terms of rewatch value. But I mean, it's a relative run-of-the-mill slasher. It's what you would expect from a sequel to an iconic movie like that. It's never ever going to be able to live up to the hype or the true phenomenon that was the first one. It's just very bland, very average, and really nothing special. And it's not terrible, it's not good, it's just average in my opinion.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how I would put it. Honestly, like, this is more of a film that fills in the gaps between the fourth and the sixth one. I'm actually kind of curious to watch the sixth one because that's where I kind of checked out of the entire Halloween series. I've really watched like midway the sixth one, and that's like the one before H2O. So that's where we're going to start watching, you know, the after Halloween movies or whatever you call them, like 90s Halloween movies. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's our thoughts on Halloween 5. Honestly, like it's okay. I mean, it's just like we've been saying, it's more of like a fill-in movie, like just a movie to be made. Yeah, that's our thoughts on Halloween 5, guys. Comment down below what you guys think of this film. Like this video, share it, and please subscribe to Pixel Talk if you haven't yet.
Click that notification button to receive notifications from us, the Pixel Talk boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Got your back, boy.
Thank you guys so much. I am Corbin Stuckey.
I am Stephen Van Ostenbridge.
And this is Pixel Talk.